Welcome, football fans, to the Yellow Jacket Football Show. I'm Carl Gurgis, your host, and of course, I've got my sidekick with me, head coach for your Alvin Yellow Jackets, Coach James Gage. Well, Coach, I know this is one game that we'd like to forget, the game we just recently had, but you know, football continues and we got one more to play.
Yeah, it was, we got off to a slow start Friday night, and Straight came out and they were firing on all cylinders, and before you could blink an eye, it was 21-0. But, we came back, made it 21-7, then they went up 28-7, then we made it 28-14. So we competed hard. We just didn't play very well. And, for our kids, it was the first time for a lot of those kids, if not all of them, they've ever played a game in late October that had playoff implications. And so I don't know if that had anything to do with it or if senior night had anything to do with it. We just came out flat. We couldn't get caught up from the start.
Well, I tell you somebody that didn't play flat, and that's Deshaun Peterson. 359 total rushing yards by the Jackets. He had 258, 21 attempts, 12 yards per carry, and 72% of our total offense. What a night.
He had a great night. And, you got to obviously credit the guys up front for giving him lanes to run in. But when he gets in the open field, he's hard to tackle, bring down and tackle. And he had a lot of broken tackles the other night, which allowed him to gain some extra yardage. But what people don't realize is Deshaun missed half the second quarter because he was cramping, said he didn't eat a very good lunch, and so we were trying to give him peanut butter and jellies and some Pedialyte and get him back out there. But, I think he averaged, like you said, over 12 yards a carry, so that's obviously a great night for anybody. But, the thing about Deshaun is as good of a night as he had offensively, he was still upset at the end of the game just because of the results. So just goes to show you what kind of a player he is.
Well, let's feed him better then, and let's make sure he doesn't have any cramps this time. Maybe we can get 300 yards out of him.
I told him I'm going to bring him a sack lunch next Friday just to make sure he gets something in his body.
I know we have film highlights of the game, and we'll be back to give you those film highlights in just one moment. Back again with Coach Gage. Coach, let's get on into the highlights because I know there are quite a few of them scoring the number of points that we did.
All right. All right, starting off on the defensive side of the ball, again, down here on the goal line. 3 or 4 times this year we've done this where we've been back up against the wall and defense comes to play and Larry Vahacek gets off a block right there. Mason Garcia comes down, hits the quarterback high, and then again rally the troops, hold them up, and make them snap it again. That's been our defense's motto all year is make them snap the ball again, and maybe they make a mistake the next play. But great job by the defense, holding strong down there on the goal line. All right, so this was early in the game. Gavin Guthrie comes off the edge and picks up the block, and then Christian Montalvo comes free right there and forces the quarterback to get rid of the ball. And, it just kind of shows you that's Larry Vahacek coming free right there, getting pressure on the quarterback and forcing the fumble. But this just kind of shows you, again, what kind of a night it was for Straight. The ball bounces right into the offensive lineman's hands who just got run over by Larry. So the kid that missed his block gets rewarded by the ball bouncing in his hand.
A lot of burnt orange jackets around the
field. Again, that's one thing they do a good job of is rallying the football. But, that's the last 3 or 4 weeks, we just hadn't had that ball bounce our way. And, again, it was just a great play by us, but just a lucky bounce by them for the ball to bounce back into their guys' hands. All right, so their quarterback does a great job moving around in the pocket when things break down. He does a good job scrambling, and he doesn't look to run. He looks to throw downfield, and so we worked a lot of scramble drill last week with our guys, and we knew he was going to be doing this quite a bit the other night. And, really, he doesn't need a scramble. We don't get much pressure on him, but he starts running around, and our secondary does a good job of staying home and forcing small lanes, and Gage Johnson gets up there and gets just enough of the ball to knock it away before the receiver can get to it. So scramble drill is one of the hardest things for those guys because they've got to stay with their man, and he's running all over the field. And it's real easy to say, I want to come up and make a play on the quarterback, but we want the quarterback to not we want the quarterback to run. We don't want to give him a wide open receiver, so a great job by Gage Johnson staying home again and forcing him to try to throw the ball over him, and then he gets just enough of it to knock it away right here.
And as you say, the D-backs have got to have a responsibility of their own, too.
When they got to cover for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, it's tough. And so, anytime you can force someone to scramble and get rid of it and still make a play like this, that's a good job by our secondary staying home. All right, so, they try to throw one on us here in the second half, or first half, and Gio Gutierrez is in great position, gets out of his break right there. They try to run a little switch route, and he stays home, doesn't bite on it. Now we just got to finish the play. You know, he has an opportunity for the interception there, lets it go through his hands. But we just got to be able to finish that play. But a great job putting himself in position to make the play and not allow his guy to catch the ball. You know, so great defensive pass breakup. But again, we look for interceptions, and you know, nobody was more upset with himself than Gio, and we just told him to shake it off and get to the next play. And you know, he'll have a lot more opportunities in the future.
You'll learn from it.
Yes, sir. And he's only a junior, so we get him coming back.
Coming back.
He'll make that play next year. Jimmy Beasley does a great job. Caleb Reed had a great punt to pin him inside the 1, and this was 3rd down, I believe. Jimmy Beasley breaks through, boom, and you see him kind of get the guy right there and get him down to the ground. This was actually our big hit for the night as well. And so a great job by number 77 right there. Jimmy Beasley just slicing through the offensive line, wrapping up and swallowing that running back, and then just bringing him to the ground. Almost looks like a calf roper right there, getting that calf down to the ground and you know, finishing the play.
I feel like he could be a rodeo.
That's what he looks like. He just needs the rope so he can tie him up. All right, moving over to the offensive side of the ball here. We walk our tight end over from one side to the other. And, again, this was early on in the game. This sets up our first score. Deshaun runs through an arm tackle there, and then it's off to the races. If he doesn't get slowed down by that linebacker, I think he probably scores. But that guy slowed him down just enough to where number 2 was able to catch up. But a great job staying on path, running behind his blocks. And then Cole Ernst gets a great block right there to kind of stay on him to give Deshaun that backside cut. And again, 258 yards the other night, 57 of them came on this play right here. This was our first score, just a little speed option here. There's no read to it, just a double option. Quarterback steps off, pitches off the end man on line of scrimmage, picks up a great block by Deshaun, and then picks up a really great block by Elijah Harris right there. He tried to run his guy off. His guy actually turned back inside and saw that he wasn't getting the ball, and he does a great job on the perimeter right here, getting back in a position and not picking up a block in the back. Gets in front and picks up a great job, and then Daniel Bloom makes a great cut and finishes his run. So
Deshaun, like you said, did his part without carrying the football.
Yes, sir. And that's one thing he's gotten better at each week, too, is blocking without the ball in his hand. But a great run right there by Daniel to set him up, dipping inside and then dipping back outside and setting up his block with Elijah there and then getting to the edge and finishing his run. All right, this was Deshaun's next big run. This was the longest run of the night, 58 yards. Just a simple dive. We get a great block down by our tight end and our tackle. Running back gets a good block. And then you see the hustle out of our tight end down the field too, Trevor Singleton. He's involved in the initial block right there on number 9, gets on the linebacker, gets just enough to spring Deshaun free, and then the hustle down the field. You got Foster hustling down the field, get a great block by the receiver. But again, Deshaun in the open field gives a stiff arm to the guy and gets about 15, 20 extra yards after that. And he's so long, you know, he's 6'2", 6'3", and then when he can extend that arm and get on you, it's hard to get to his body. And so,
well, he did a good job, too, of setting up that second block, like you say. You know, it's not just running, it's also running for a purpose and a reason.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he's got great feet, great vision. You know, I really think he'd be a good back, and no matter what scheme you put him in, but we feel like in our offense, he makes us go. And so, obviously, a 58-yard run and a 57-yard run, that's going to boost the stats right there.
That'll make you go.
Yes, sir. So he was upset he didn't score. We said, Deshaun, you're not going to score every time you touch the ball. He said, well, I want to. I said, well, that's a good attitude.
That's okay.
We'll take a 58-yard run. So this was 2 plays later. He got the opportunity. The same exact play. This time he just lowered his shoulder and got in the end zone. He said, I'm not going to try to outrun him. I'm just going to lower my shoulder and finish the run. So, again, just the safety sits up, unblocked, and yet 3 yards after contact, we're falling in the end zone. This made it to a 28-14 game.
What's he, 180?
About 190, 195 pounds. So he's a load. But just a great job finishing the drive right here. All right, so we go a little G-ops, a little belly G here. Dashel Foster gets a great pull and kick right there. And then again, a 33-yard. This was a 58-yard, a 57-yard, and a 53-yard. That's a pretty good night in itself on 3 carries. But he makes a great cut, gets a great block by Dashel right there on the end. And then again, makes the guy misses and gets 15, 20 extra yards after the initial missed tackle. So great job by the offensive line on the double team right there. Daniel Bloom gets his linebacker blocked. Great execution on the Jackets' part. And we knew, again, we felt like we could go at these guys. And one of our goals is 8 explosive plays each week, and I think we ended up with 15 or 16 explosive plays the other night.
Good stiff arm. He knows a little bit about everything when you're talking about running.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And again, it just goes back to the one cut, and then now just go be a football player. All right, so this was, I believe, his second touchdown. Yes, we get Navy. We run a little, which is our little version of trips. We run a little motion, and then we run our read option. The end runs up the field. Trevor does a great job reading. Lance Savage right there, our left tackle, does a great job on the play side linebacker. Gets him sealed and gives Deshaun a chance to make this one little cut right off his hip, and then he goes and scores. And that's one thing, again, 1, 2 guys on him. Neither one of them bring him down. Again, that's about a 12, 15-yard after contact run for him. So just a great job by him. Again, great execution. Great execution by Trevor reading it correctly. The great block by Savage right there. And then again, just a great job finishing his run right there by Deshaun.
7 yards out, he still carries a couple with him.
Yes, sir. All right, so they had a kid. They brought in a kid to play corner that we felt like we had a size advantage on, so we put Elijah Harris out there, and we threw just basically a go ball with him. The kid ends up getting his hands all over him for pass interference, and we also catch the ball for a 33-yard gain. So the official asked me, Coach, do you want the penalty or do you want the catch? And I said, well, I'm going to take the catch, and then you can put the penalty on top of it. He said, well, Coach, you can't have that. I said, well, then give me the 33-yard catch. So
that's okay. Keep asking.
Yeah,
you
maybe one day,
one of
they
these
give
days.
it to us. So, but we'll take a 33-yard catch over a 15-yard pass interference call all day long. But a good job by Trevor, just getting enough time to get this ball off. And again, great job by Elijah, just going to make a play one-on-one. We call those 50-50 balls. You know, you each have a chance to make a play, and this time we made the play on it.
About a 50-yard throw by Trevor, too.
He's got a strong arm.
Did a good job on that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we had the film highlights, and of course, we're going to come back with special recognition in just a few moments, okay? I won't forget.
You didn't forget this week. I didn't have to remind you. So
stay with us, folks. We'll be right back with special recognition of the Jackets in last week's game. Okay, Coach, we've got some special recognition, so the floor is yours.
All right, so our Offensive Player of the Week this week went to Deshaun Peterson. Surprise, surprise, when you have 258 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, that typically gets you some type of award. So 12.1 yards a carry, and he's 53 yards away from 1,000 yards this year. So
He looks small, but he is not small.
He is not small at all, and it shows in his runs. But yeah, he's got 53 yards to get to 1,000. So we hope that we can get him there this Friday night.
Well, you know, a youngster like that, it's really a pleasure to coach.
Absolutely, great kid, team captain, and he's only a junior. So next year we get to talk about him a little bit more.
We'll preserve him over the year and have him back next year then.
Absolutely. Our Defensive Player of the Week this week was senior Larry Vahacek. Larry played a tremendous game. Larry had an unfortunate injury last year as a junior that made him miss about 6 games, but he was able to come back this year, and he's had a tremendous year for us and done a great job and had an outstanding game on Friday night. And really proud of Larry, and played again well enough to get our Defensive Player of the Week. Our Special Teams Player of the Week, and I told them the other day it's unfortunate that they had so many opportunities, but these 2 guys were our 2 kick returners. Senior Jordan Torres, number 42, and senior 16, Daniel Bloom. They both had a lot of kickoff returns the other night, which again is unfortunate, but they both did a really good job the other night on kickoff return, just catching it, getting what they could get, and our field position starting off wasn't too bad. And so,
well, I think it's great that you can pick 2 of them as well.
Yeah, well, they did a good job of kicking it to both sides the other night, and so both those guys being our returners did a good job securing the catch, blocking for each other, and then just getting what they could and get our offense on the field. And then our big hit of the week came from number 77, senior Jimmy Beasley. I think we showed the highlight earlier. Here it is right here where he slices through the defense. This was a 3rd down late in the game. We had him pinned back inside, and he slices through right there and wraps him up. And then again, looks like a calf roper at the rodeo where he throws that calf down. We just need to get him some rope so he can tie him up and see if we can get him under under 6 seconds or so right there.
Well,
But
rodeo or either that or wrestling Friday night, one of the two.
one of the two, but no, it's a big hit, slamming to the ground right there. And again, close to a safety, but that was our big big hit of the week right there for Jimmy.
Well, business is yet to end. We've got A-Leaf Taylor Friday night, 7 o'clock at Taylor. Tell us a little bit about them.
Taylor's super athletic. We're going to go over there, and we're going to treat it like a home game for us. This is our third game going over to Crump this year, and so we know exactly which way to go. We know what the locker rooms look like. We know
Bus
what our
driver
pregame
knows how to
routine
get
is.
there.
Everything's going to be very similar. So, but they're talented. They've got a wide receiver going to Tech. They've got a very skilled quarterback and a running back. They're big up front, and they run well on defense. But I think our kids are ready to go play, and we told our kids Monday, we still have an outside shot at the playoffs. Right. If we beat Taylor and Elsa can find a way to beat Strake on Friday, we get in the playoffs. And so, we go into Week 10 with the possibility to still make the playoffs. That's all you can really ask for. So we're going to show up, and with a win, we go to 5-5. And 5-5 hadn't been done here since 2015.
It sure hasn't. It sure hasn't.
That would be a great way, whether the season ends or whether we get into the playoffs. 5-5 would be a great way, to end the regular season, going into off season or going into the playoffs. So these seniors have done a tremendous job getting this thing turned around and kind of building the foundation now moving forward with what we've got to work with.
Well, you can't expect it to happen overnight. We'll be 5-5, as you say, if we win. First time in a long time that we've been at that level, as a matter of fact. So 7 o'clock, A-Leaf Stadium over at in the A-Leaf School District, and we'll be playing the Taylor, A-Leaf Taylor. We'll see you again next week, folks. Appreciate you joining us. And for the coach, I'm Carl Gurgis. Good night and go Jackets.
Jacket pride never dies.
Here is your Alvin Yellow Jackets. Touchdown! Peterson for an Alvin touchdown.